Tonight I am wearing something I've only worn twice in my entire life. Does anyone know what it is? Oh, that was fast. That was good. It turned out to be, and you're exactly right, the thing I'm wearing twice, I've only worn twice in my entire life, is my collie tree. Now, why is that? Well, we'll get to that later. You know, today we're celebrating the Feast of the Epiphany. And it's a very beautiful feast, and in today's gospel reading, coming out of the second chapter of Matthew, full text is verse 1 to 12, the three magi travel and they recognize and they see Jesus and they give Jesus three very symbolic gifts. Now, I don't want to put these gifts on a wall because I want to make sure that we heard the gospel reading and we can remember, because this happens year after year after year, what those three gifts turned out to be. So the three gifts, and let's say these together. The gifts of the first one is what? Gold, frankincense, and myrrh. Now those are powerful gifts. It turns out to be they're symbolic. The gold would suggest that Jesus Christ would one day become a king, and so he did, and he needed that gold. The frankincense was an incense used by the priestly class back in those days, and it turns out to be the frankincense incense is still used in the Catholic Church today. Many priests favor frankincense because of the aroma it gives off when it is lit. So that is still used today. Jesus Christ would in fact become our priest, and he would need that frankincense. And the third gift that we mentioned correctly, the gift of myrrh, I find that the most interesting gift of all. What a strange gift to give to a baby. Myrrh is an embalming fluid. I could not imagine going to a baptism and arriving and giving to the new parents embalming fluid for their child. Something tells me you'll not be invited in a home for long. But the embalming fluid was symbolic to show that Jesus Christ one day would become our crucified Savior, and that embalming fluid would be used by him. So Jesus received these three gifts, and he was wise enough in his life that eventually he would use all three of those gifts. It reminds me of a friend of mine who was telling me this story. He was telling me that about 20 years ago, he wanted at Christmas time to buy his unmarried older sister a very nice gift. So he decided to buy her something he never bought her before, and he went to the store, and he went to actually Penny's, and he bought her this red dress. He wasn't sure if it would fit her. He thought it would, but he thought it was very beautiful, and she looked so nice in it. So he tells me, as he was sharing with me this story, that he wraps the gift and he puts the gift under the tree, and then Christmas Day, as his family is gathered around the tree in the living room, opening up the presents that one person gave to another. He finally gets to the point where he's able to give his sister this box, and she takes the box and she unwraps it. She opens up this box and she pulls out this beautiful red dress. She was so excited to receive this red dress from him. He was shocked in how excited she was. Well, she held this dress and looked at it, and she took off for the bathroom. And she put the dress on. A couple minutes later, she re-entered the living room, and the family looked in. She was absolutely, according to him, she was stunning inside of that red dress. She absolutely looked beautiful. She's a beautiful gal, but inside of that red dress, it just brought out her complexion. She was just incredibly beautiful inside of that dress. When she walked in the living room, everyone started to clap in her family because she just looked so beautiful. She was standing there twirling around. It looked like she was young again. She made a few twirls, and she looked at that dress, and she ran back into the bathroom. She took the dress off and put her regular clothes back on, and she re-entered the living room. Then she got the box that a friend gave her that had the dress inside of it, and she put that dress back into this box as neat as she could. And she put the lid on the box, and she said to everyone, "I'm going to wear this dress for special occasions." That's how much that dress meant to her. He said for the next 20 years, there were many special occasions in the life of his family. Weddings and baptisms and confirmations and first communions, and every event he would go to and she would be at, which was nearly every event, she was never wearing that red dress. She just kept saving it and saving it and saving it. It was back in September he called me up, and this is when he shared this story with me. He called me up and told me this particular sister I've been talking about, that she had cancer and that she passed away in the hospital. And he asked me if I would go to her home because after the funeral director picked her up from the hospital to take her to the funeral home and prepare the body, the funeral director told this brother that he would need some clothing from the gal's house so he could dress her for the viewing. He called me up and asked me if I would go with him to her home. He actually didn't want to enter that house without her. And since she was gone, it just gave him a feeling that he needed someone to be with him. So we traveled there together. We entered the house and went upstairs into her bedroom, and then we got into the closet, and he opens up the closet, and he's going through these different dresses and slacks and blouses, trying to figure out what she would really, really look nice in. And then on the left side of the closet, there was some shelving. There was some shelving on the left side, and he thought, well, maybe something in one of those shelves would really look nice. And he noticed this box. And he slides the box off the shelf, and written on the top of the box, she wrote the words, "For special occasion." What could be inside of that box? So he opened up the box, and for the second time in his life, after he made the purchase the first time, he opened up the box, and there was that red dress. He took it out of the box, and he looked at it, and he told me the story about how beautiful she looked in that red dress, and how excited everyone was when she put it on and re-entered the living room. They just thought she looked so beautiful. But she decided never to wear it. She decided only to save it. And then he looked at me and he said, "Kenny, I don't think this is the special occasion she had in mind. But there was never a special occasion that she went to in which she wore this dress." He said, "But I think she looks so beautiful in this dress, we'll make her funeral preparation the special occasion." So we took that dress and went to the funeral home, and when she was laid out and I went to view her, and then I obviously eventually would have her mass a couple days later, she was in that red dress. On the Feast of the Epiphany, I was thinking to myself, why do we save things? And then it dawned on me, why have I been saving this college? For what reason? I remember that I had to acquire, my parents obviously helped me get through college, but if I wanted a college ring, and pretty expensive even back then, that I would have to be the one that acquired and paid for the college ring. And on my last payment, I was then able to go to the bookstore at the college and pick up the ring. And I remember getting that ring, and I put it on my finger, and I worked for that day, and then I put it back in the box to keep it safe, so I wouldn't lose it or wear it out. And I was thinking about the Feast of the Epiphany, that Jesus was giving these gifts, and he used every one of those gifts. This gal had that red dress, and she waited for a special occasion. And then it dawned on me, Kenny, what are you saving it for? And this particular college ring has meaning to no one else other than me. It has the year I graduated from college and the name of the college, and I spent a few extra dollars back then. I'm surprised I did. And I looked at this college ring for the first time since actually 1978 is when I picked this ring up, before most of you were even born. And I looked inside of it, and lo and behold, I spent a few extra dollars to have my name engraved inside of it. I said, I can't believe I did that. Why have I been saving it? So that it's pristine on, as I said to myself when I was thinking about my friend's sister, so it's in pristine condition, that a day that I would pass, a family member would take that also to the funeral director, and I had my college ring on, and someone would walk up to my casket and would probably say, hey, you really kept that in good shape. It's like you've never worn it before. And that, in fact, would be true. I think the message, and a small little message, and there's a lot of beautiful message for the Feast of the Epiphany. But as we wrap up Christmas, and I understand a lot of people have already put their Christmas decorations on and away, and that's fine, and some will do that either today or tomorrow, waiting for the Feast of the Epiphany to officially close off the Christmas season. That part doesn't matter. But with all the gifts you receive, I'm sure if you received electronic gifts, those you probably have been using, that's the nature of electronic gifts. But as you think about all the gifts you received in your life and all the gifts you received a couple of weeks ago at Christmas, if there's a special gift and you said to yourself the second you looked at it, oh, I'm going to save this for a special occasion, You put it in a box and you put it on a shelf and it's going to stay there for the next 10, 15, 20 years. It just, to me, I feel so foolish that for some reason I decided to save a ring that means nothing to anyone else, only a lot to me. There's a little article I read in Psychology Today magazine, just a little filler at the bottom of one of the pages, and it said this: for all the things we save and hoard in our lives, that when we die and family members come to clean out our home, two things will probably happen with that which we saved and we thought was so important never to use, so we will not wear it out, tear it, or lose it. Family members will probably do two things: fight over it or throw it in a dumpster. So that's the answer to the question. I'm wearing something I've only worn twice in my life, my collie ring. Because I said to myself, I had an epiphany moment. Why am I saving it? Why are you saving, if you are, the stuff you're saving, instead of using it, enjoying it, celebrating it, and just wearing it? Even if you lose it, tear it, rip it, whatever it might be. What does it really matter? Between the day you got it and the day you lost it, you enjoyed it.